How far am I from achieving my definite chief aim, my goals, or towards my major vision? This is the question that you're supposed to be asking yourself right now. But is it really the right question? Because personal transformation is all about the depth in your experiencing of the moment. Nothing is going to change. It's you that is supposed to change because you attract who you are. So let's talk about your attachment to your ego. The Bible even has so many stories, especially the stories when Jesus used to talk about or speak about riches. And you probably think that Jesus didn't really like these the riches, as in the physical riches, money, prosperity, and owning things. When he always used to say, I remember there was a point when he said, it becomes easy for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than a rich man to enter heaven. And there was this other rich man who came and said, Master, how must I save? And he asked him questions. And then he said, okay, then go and sell everything that you own. Come follow me. And the man was so dejected and he felt like he had a raw deal from Jesus. But he was actually talking about attachment to things. Attachment to things of the world, attachment to your thoughts, to your mind, attachment to what we call the ego, which is the ego is the mask, the social mask that we're wearing, the roles that we play. I'm a CEO, I'm a doctor, I'm a football player, I'm a janitor, I'm all these other things that you tell yourself that you are. We get attached to them so much that our real self or our real selves become obscured from our vision. Hence, when you are pursuing personal transformation, always remember that the goals or the net that you're casting further, honestly, most of the times is in you are losing it. You won't win at all. It's just futile. You are supposed to be going on a journey backwards. This is the journey to yourself. The moment you start understanding yourself, the moment you start understanding who you are, the experiences or your perception of the experiences, your experience of now changes. It becomes better, it becomes richer, and things get clearer. Better than when you say, I'm aiming at gaining this. It's not bad, really, but if you have a plan and this is where you would want to go, this is the destination. But now, focus exactly on who you have to become for you to reach that destination. If you want to run a marathon, maybe a 50 kilometer or 100 kilometer race marathon, what do? Do you just go and run the marathon, or you first improve yourself? Who you become a marathon runner in the first place, in your mind and then with your body. So there has to be synchronicity between the real your real self, your mind, your body. Let me just say your real self and the ego. Then the ego becomes the servant of your real self. But most of the times we make the mistake of believing that that goal now is supposed to be the actual thing that we are pursuing. And we start getting attached to things. We start getting attached to things, and that leads to pain, that leads to suffering. So the best way to deal with it is, who do I become? And also, how do you measure your progress? You measure your progress by looking at the things that you had been attached to and how much you've been loosening that attachment to the extent that it just falls. That's personal transformation. Personal transformation is all about attachment. What have I been attached to? Sometimes you probably been attached to a bad story about yourself. You know, these self-fulfilling prophecies. You had a bad self-image. You didn't realize that you were, part of the supreme. There is nobody who's like you. I don't want to use the word unique because it's not well defined. Unique means that there never has been and there never shall be anybody who is like you. Your talents, who you really are, deeper than what you see on the mirror when you look through the mirror, or what you see right now is not my real self. This is just a vessel of the higher self that is expressing itself through this. So if you pursue knowledge or self-knowledge, you will reach in terms of experiences. You won't even need to gain anything. But as long as you start gaining this awareness, the richness of the awareness of the now, that's where happiness comes from. So what is your goal? I'll give you the example of what I sat down and said I needed to achieve. From the results that I had been receiving, my wins, my losses, my everything, I sat down and say, okay, as things have been happening, what really has been the major factor in the results that I'm getting? I'm not happy about the results that I'm getting. My financial results, my relationships, my romantic relationships, my social relationships, and many of the spheres of my life within the wheel of life. I wasn't really happy about the outcomes that I was getting. And I asked myself, honestly then, what is the major factor that is impacting my outcomes? And I realized that it was my personal character. There was a weakness in my character. I couldn't manage to draw even healthy boundaries. I was just a yes man to almost everybody. And I was a nice guy. I would ask myself, so there's nothing wrong with me. I'm a nice guy. I'm a cool guy. I'm a hard worker and all these other, good things, so-called good things. But the one thing was I wasn't of a solid character. I could be just swayed hither and thither anytime by any, especially external factors. And I decided that the buck starts here. I have to stop this. I had to step my foot on my personal character. And now the way how I experience things is totally different. I had to go hard on improving my character. And most of the times my character had to do with just attachment to things that were unnecessary. Sometimes you get attached to being praised and people say you're a good guy, you're a nice guy. And I'll be like, all the times it becomes sort of like a Pavlovian response, that if ever there's a situation, I would love to be praised for attending to that situation. Sometimes in neglecting the stuff that was the most important or major stuff. Maybe it's at work. You start neglecting your family because you are attached to this work thing, or the other way around. Families start interfering with your dreams and your future. So I decided, let me work on this character. And I realized that the major problem within, or the major issue within my character was attachment. Attachment to things, attachment to praise, attachment to, sometimes you just get attachment to busyness to the detriment of pursuing your divine work. That was the problem. And that is usually the problem. So when you ask yourself, how far am I from achieving these things? Ask yourself, how attached am I still to the things that are hampering my progress? Because the journey is not really outward. The journey is within. Go deeper within yourself. start, as we spoke about awareness, really go deeper and look into your emotions. Sometimes you just get attached to emotions. Sometimes you call them bad, sometimes you call them good. Thoughts, bad thoughts, good thoughts, anything, but you get attached to it. That is your problem, and that is the area that you need to focus on. So as we ask ourselves, how far are we? Because it will be easy for us to set goals and sit down and say, okay, financially, I would love to be a millionaire. And then how much do I have in my savings, in my pocket? What's my personal net worth? And we work on the numbers, dry statistics and all this. And we're like, okay, as far as we're concerned now, I want to be a billionaire. My personal net worth is 200,000. And you believe, okay, this is, so I'm 800,000 away from being a millionaire. But it's deeper than that. Who must I become for me to be a millionaire? Because you could get a million today. Do you think you'll be able to sustain that millionaire status? That's why, people who earn, especially those who hit the jackpot, most of the times within a year or even two, they will be broke. Most of the times worse than they were before. Why? Because for you to be a millionaire, you need to become a millionaire within. And you'll be a sustainable millionaire without. So this journey of going out is not sustainable at all. So when you start asking yourself, how far am I from achieving my goals, my definite chief aim, you must ask yourself, how far am I from becoming what I want to receive? There's a story in the Bible when a prophet asked this lady to prepare containers for oil. She had little, she didn't have much, but she had this faith in the prophets, or in the works of the prophet, because she believed that this is the man of God. So she believed in the power of God, and that power of God was the only sustainable thing that she had. But she prepared those containers, and those containers were definitely filled up. So this story is trying to show us that you need to work on your within for things from without to come, and surely they shall come. So how far am I from achieving my goal should be retranslated to, how deep am I into the richness of experiencing the now? How deep am I into the richness of experiencing the now? And that will all be about the attachments. The moment you start realizing that, the attachments start falling, the richness or the depth of that richness will improve. Without that, you will still be stuck believing that, let me work even harder. Let me screw them even harder. Let me cut them even more, so that at least, this competition becomes lesser and lesser, and this jostling for riches, you will never win anything in your life. And you realize that when you think you've arrived, the moment you think you have arrived, you come to the realization that you are not even anywhere, and suffering becomes even worse. So how far am I from where I want to go should be only measured by how deep am I within myself, and who really am I to receive those things. And you shall always be ready when opportunity comes, because luck is all about opportunity meeting preparation. So if you prepare yourself and you keep moving, and you start, you begin to experience the now, richer and differently, it's when you know that you are going somewhere. And now remember, this life is about experiencing now. Don't worry about where you're going, as long as you set your goals, and then you say, okay, these are the metrics that I'm supposed to be are utilizing to check my progress, and keep moving and keep enjoying the now, and your life will be richer. My name is Ngobawin on I Am Wealthy. Please, if you haven't subscribe, share, comment, and like. Namaste.